Hi everyone, it's Kara Wong and I'm here today with Gina Best, our next leading lady at the Magical Unicorn Project. And I met Gina last October at a breast cancer awareness event that was being hosted for South Asian women because they as a group have a smaller percentage of them that actually go and get mammograms. So I was there presenting as the keynote speaker, and Gina was there to speak as well as a breast cancer thriver, because I'm not allowed to say survivor, to share her experiences going through that journey. And what was really interesting about this is I was sitting in the front row and she was talking about how important it is to get a mammogram, and I was feeling very guilty because I was one of these women who was like, oh my God, like I've never got one either, and I'm not even South Asian. So what's my excuse? Anyways, I think it can happen to a lot of people. You get busy in your life, you know, working, dealing with children, caught up in the hustle and bustle of life. So I decided after that event, I went up to Gina and I said, you know what, because of you, I'm gonna go and get my first ever mammogram. So I booked it, I went that following week, and then I didn't see Gina again to the next month, and we were in Niagara Falls for a conference, and the elevator doors opened, and there she was, and I literally, as soon as I saw her, I bounded into the elevator. It was like, Gina, I got a mammogram! And there's a guy in the elevator who's kind of like, who are these weird people, right? But literally, I don't know when I would have ever got one, you know, if it hadn't been for her. So thank you, Gina. I owe you a thank you for that, because it was just one of these things I just never got around to doing.
And I'm so glad you did, because you know what? So many people discount it or whatever. You know what? It really don't. If you're over, in BC, it's over 40. If there's history of breast cancer in your family, you can go before that. Don't ignore it. And people are like, it hurts, it's this, it's that. Just do it.
It didn't hurt.
It's a few minutes, squish some boobs. You're good. But you know what? It could save your life.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, Gina, so tell me a little bit about yourself and how you became a mortgage boss and leading lady in the industry.
Going back, it's actually 16 years. I was working as a licensed assistant in a financial planning firm, and my boss at the time said, hey, do you want to be the mortgage broker for the firm? I was kind of bored. I thought, sure. Then not long after that, I got licensed, wrong company, it wasn't great. I did 2 years there, and my other boss at the time said, you're going to start your own business. And I used to say, no, I'm not. Mm-hmm. No, I'm not. He's like, oh, yes, you are. I quit my job basically 2 years later and started, back then it was called Meridian, which now I'm Mortgage Alliance West, and I was one of the original franchises in downtown. So I slowly built the business. I built it literally, I had an office with a phone and nothing. So I built it from zero. Last year I think we funded about 165 million. And I did it by networking. I did it by building relationships, phone calls, and not a lot of realtors, believe it or not. And then about so in my practice, as I built the brokerage, it was really important for me that I'm not the person to come to if you want like a sit-down trading program, not me. I do really believe in coaching, so I had a very strong business coach through my whole, I still do, and I brought that to my broker, so there was a big coaching component inside my business. Having breast cancer changes everything. You know, it's so big. How you function, you literally put one foot in front of the other. You have good days, you have bad days. There were days that I would come to the office and I'd speak to a client and then cry for an hour. There were days that I cried a lot through Costco. Costco was a big trigger point for me. So it's amazing when you cry at Costco because everybody gets out of your way. I cried a lot at Costco. One of the things that got me through the cancer part was where I work out. So I work out at this amazing place. It was called Twist Vancouver, and it used to be on 6th in Ontario. And what I would do is I worked out 3 days a week with my trainer, but then I'd keep sneakers in my car. So when days were really bad, I would stop on my way home because I didn't want to take it home to my kids. And it was always one trainer, his name was Luke, and I'd go in and he'd nod at me. And he'd slowly move his clients away from where the music was, and he'd go over and flip on really, really heavy metal for me. And I'd take a weighted ball, and I would throw it at the floor until I cried. And then I'd cry it out, and then I'd put the ball away, and I'd leave, and I'd look back, and he'd slowly move his clients back, and he flips music. Happened all the time.
And a question I always like to ask all my lovely ladies is, what is an emotional glass ceiling that you've struggled with in your life?
An emotional glass ceiling I struggled with? How do I put this? All of them. Let's be honest. After I lost the babies, I refer to it as the Great Wall of Gina. So every time I had a feeling, every time something sneaked through, I'd put another brick on the wall so I didn't have to deal with it. I didn't know how, so I just didn't. So you asked me about the emotional glass ceiling. It was myself, and part of it, mostly it was, let's be honest, I self-imposed it. And I locked my feelings down, but it was also what I thought was expected. So I was, at the time I was working in the financial industry, and then I went on to start my own business. But I didn't think I could show the emotions. The big joke when I did the Authentic Speaker Academy for Leadership was I didn't know how to spell vulnerability. I didn't know what that meant. I didn't know that you could be vulnerable in your workplace, in your life, period. I didn't know. So embracing that, plus that I was playing with the boys. I was the first franchise owner of, back then we were Meridian in Vancouver, and I thought a certain level of, she's one of the guys, had to be done. So I never showed any of the, again, I had the feelings of lockdown, so it was really easy because I just went. So that was, it was definitely self-imposed, but it was all about what I thought was expected. And then, like, I remember seeing, women cry along the way and the way the guys reacted, and I thought, there's no way I'm doing that. No way. Like, I wasn't going to be that. My definition of a strong woman got challenged by my mentor, and when I listed off all these things and he repeated them back to me, and I thought, no way, that's horrible. And he said to me, that's what you just said. So I had to jig what I thought a strong woman was, and now one of the first things is vulnerability. Speak your mind. Do what you say you're going to do. Treat others well. It's those pieces. So I think the emotional glass ceiling, truthfully, I think is self-imposed mostly for me.
So I've heard that you have this world according to Gina, and it sounds fascinating. So please elaborate.
So I have this I call it the world according to Gina. So whenever I do a presentation, business or personal, I always do the world according to Gina. And I actually refer to this in my head a lot. I have an edit button, believe it or not, that edits me from saying things forward, but I'm trying to make that go away. But the world according to Gina, here's a couple things I want to say. First of all, I don't know if I believe women can have it all at one time. I do believe women can have successful businesses and be moms and be amazing partners and climb Mount Kilimanjaro if that's what it is. You can do anything you want. I just don't know if you can do them all at the same time. So that's my take on having it all. There's no rule that says you can't be a successful mortgage broker and have another business. You can't be a successful mortgage broker and have a passion project. You can't be a successful business owner and only do that. When I first started Intentional Success, my Gina Best coaching, I had a partner who wanted me to give up mortgages, and I almost did. And then I thought, why? I love certain parts of it, certain parts I hate. I don't like paperwork, but I love it. So you know what? I will always have mortgages. In my coaching practice, I have amazing clients. Some of them are mortgage brokers. I've had a couple of realtors. I have a painter. I have a lady who makes Facebook Messenger bots. I have a florist. I have an interior designer. I have a woman who's just started one of the very first female-led construction companies. I have amazing people. And guess what? I can do that as well. And then I have one boob down. And people say to me, how do you do it all? They all actually go really well together. My mortgage clients know I have the coaching practice. My coaching practice knows I have the mortgage clients. And now everybody knows about one boob down because it's what I'm talking about. So what I really want to say is there are glass ceilings out there. I worked in the financial world for many, many years. And I used to have to say to a broker, up here, not here. Like, I get it. But you know what? You decide what you want. You decide how you're going to do it, and stop playing nice in the sandbox. Just do it. Stop apologizing. Stop making excuses. One of my biggest frustrations right now is just get on with it, for the love of God. Now that I'm not saying be mean, be rude, be obnoxious. I'm not saying any of that. What I am saying is figure out what you want and do it. You can make excuses forever, but the reality is, here's the biggest thing. Life is short.
So thank you, Gina Best, for being with me here today. And thank you, Mortgage Alliance, for your generous sponsorship in making this video possible.
And I want to say something to that because Mortgage Alliance, over my ups and downs the last few years, have been unbelievably supportive. And you know what? When you make a decision about where to work, it's always about the people. So I hope everybody watching this loves the people they work with as much as I do.